Assalamualaikum to our lecturer, Dr. AZIMAH binti DAUD. So today we are filming this presentation. Global transit networks are facing an unprecedented operational stress test. The volatile West Asia crisis has pushed crude oil prices well past $100 a barrel, making private car dependence financially ruinous for average Malaysian households. Public transport is no longer just a secondary option. It is our primary shield against global energy shocks. Yet, despite billions invested in networks like Putrajaya Line, a massive systemic vulnerable remains. My name is Nick, and together with my group, we are pitching a structural solution, a fully expanded crisis-resilient, transit-oriented development framework right here at MRT Kwasa Damansara.
Look behind me. MRT Kwasa Damansara is a massive rail hub, yet it remains isolated, surrounded by vast, underutilized plots and single-use parking space. This perfectly highlights the core issue in Malaysia urban planning. Land use and transport infrastructure are frequently planned in separate, disconnecting silos because residential hubs and commercial zones.
Exactly, AKBAR. Maintaining this status quo means keeping our communities car-dependent, worsening daily traffic congestion, and heavily damaging the long-term return on our massive public transport investments.
Commercial zones are now strategically clustered around the transit gates. Our stations suffer from weak pedestrian connectivity and low local utilization.
As energy costs continue to climb, forcing people to drive to a fragmented transit station is unsustainable operational model. We need to bridge the gap between academic theory and real-world execution.
To build a crisis-resilient system, our framework is anchored strictly on empirical data. Statistics show that Malaysians' urban population skyrocketed to 76% by 2024, driving an intense demand for sustainable housing and efficient service right next to transit lines. Transit-oriented development, TOD, solves this by placing compact mixed-use development within a comfortable walking distance of stations.
Our proposal directly applies the empirical finding of Abdullah et al. 2022, which proves that effective rail transit relies entirely on high-density land use characteristics to optimize accessibility. Furthermore, our approach directly satisfies the mandate of the National Transport Policy 2019 to 2030, which explicitly demands the tight alignment of future urban growth with existing rail grids to maximize public transport efficiency.
So, to ensure our strategic recommendation withstand rigorous academic and practical scrutiny, our group deployed a multi-stage secondary data analysis framework. We systematically evaluated land use data maps surrounding Klang-Berry rail corridors, cross-referencing transit ridership patterns against localized population density metrics.
We also conducted a cooperative content analysis of current local plan guidelines, including the Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan and Selangor State Structure Plan. By matching these frameworks against the empirical transport metric, we successfully identify the operational gaps that currently limit the MRT Kwasa Damansara from achieving its maximum modal share capacity.
So, what is our innovation? We propose the Kwasa Resilent-Tod hub. We are shifting completely away from fossil fuel dependence by incorporating zero-emission micro-mobility takes powered by solar charging grids. To guarantee high ridership, we utilize AI for predictive scheduling and introduce a seamless, unified mobile payment framework to eliminate transit friction. We adapted this model directly from Singapore's highly successful TOD framework. Warehousing, commercial properties, and primary deployment zones are meticulously stacked right above the MRT gates, ensuring the city stays highly mobile even if oil prices skyrocket past $100 a barrel.
Let's analyze the multi-pillar impact of our recommended TOD policy. Economically, clustering commercial spaces at station door drastically scale up public transport leadership and boost retail revenue. Environmentally, it reduces the carbon footprint by moving commuter away from private car into an interconnected rail system. Now, critics often argue that high-density TOD causes drastic gentrification, pricing out low-income families. but our strategy directly refutes this. We mandate strict inclusionary zoning requiring developer to dedicate 30% of their TOD project to affordable housing, and this ensures that low-income worker and the elderly trade direct working access to high-quality transit.
A TOD project cannot succeed on high-density zoning alone. It lives or dies by the quality of its first and last mile integration. Conducting a live spatial audit right here at Kwasa Damansara reveals immediate infrastructure barriers. While the immediate station concourse is highly accessible, the surrounding pedestrian network quickly fragments into disconnected, uncovered pathways exposed to Malaysia's harsh tropical weather.
This physical disconnect creates a major psychological barrier for commuters. Under our proposed Resilent-Tod model, we mandate a compulsory 400-meter radius network of fully covered solar shade, pedestrian boardwalks, and dedicated micro-mobility lane. By seamlessly linking the station gates to surrounding commercial zone, we eliminate the reliance on private car for short-distance neighborhood trips.
An A+ framework must look beyond design and address financial viability, transforming these massive surface parking lots into high-density, mixed-use commercial properties require a strategic funding shift. We propose a public-private partnership model, or PPP, where transit operators like Prasarana collaborate directly with private property developers.
Through land pooling mechanism and joint venture developments, the state captures long-term recurring revenue via commercial lease agreement rather than relying solely on fluctuating ticket sales. This private sector capital funds the critical pedestrian and smart grid infrastructure, ensuring the entire TOD project itself sustaining without draining public coffers during global economic shocks.
Let's field a critical question often raised by national policymakers. If global oil prices remain sustained above $100 a barrel for multiple years, how does this specific TOD design insulate the local community from cascading inflation?
Excellent question, Uzair. Because with TOD cluster daily essential services such as grocery stores, medical clinics, and co-working hubs within a 5-minute walking radius of the residential units, the absolute necessity for daily motorized travel is drastically reduced. Households can eliminate their secondary vehicle expenses entirely, resulting their disposable income from volatile prices.
Furthermore, from an operational perspective, our reliance on localized solar micromobility grids ensure that even during a national energy crunch, the localized feeder network remains completely active, operational, and decoupled from fossil fuels.
To guarantee a successful execution, we recommend 3 immediate steps. First, establish a dedicated interagency task force combining KPKT, MOT, and Prasarana to eliminate bureaucratic bottlenecks. Second, provide plot ratio bonuses to developers who meet our affordable housing quotas. And third, conduct rigorous mandatory accessibility audits to ensure flawless first and last mile shaded connection. Dr. AZIMAH, reanimating the status quo leaves Malaysia highly vulnerable to global supply shocks and trapped in permanent traffic gridlock. Expanding this transit-oriented development policy is our clear path toward a seamless, sustainable, and crisis-resilient future. Choose innovation, choose a resilient Malaysia. Thank you, Dr. AZIMAH.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. AZIMAH. Sit.